Wanna go for a ride?
All right, welcome to Open Mic Wrestling Night here on Twitch. If you are not listening in the live time frame of 8 p.m. Eastern, currently 8:07 p.m. Eastern Time, you are listening to this podcast on Fill in the Void Podcast Network. Whatever which way you are getting this podcast from Fill in the Void Podcast Network, I appreciate you tuning in, watching in, listening, all that good stuff. How are you all doing? My apologies for hat hair day over from work. It's been absolutely nuts the last few days here over in real life land. So, but thank you for. I'm just making sure that my frames are good. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in to Open Mic Wrestling Night here. And as you can see down below, I'm getting good at this. Down below is the call-in number if you wish to call in from now until when Matt Ryan joins in. No, not that Matt Ryan, if you're a sports fan. Matthew Ryan of Capital Wrestling. He is going to be joining us in a little bit, talking about the Global Wrestling Network deal that he and his company had just signed. And he's going to also be coming and talking about the upcoming World War IV event in which he throws off, or he's getting off this weekend in Hoboken. You'll learn more about that as when he comes on. And much more. Matt, I've known him, for a little while now, and had the pleasure of working with him on a show in a sponsorship capacity. But with that said, we have him joining, and I just want to go through the guest list. If you follow the show on Twitter, I don't even know what my @ is. At Open Mic Wrestling. That's Open Mic, WRESTLIN. Today I have Matthew Ryan, obviously, coming on in just a short while. Then coming up on January 3rd, we're going to have a good lineup here. Oh my god, I just lost it on the phone. Well, either way, we have guests on the 3rd, the 10th, and April 25th. So this is going to be a very stacked couple of weeks here for the show, Open Mic Wrestling Night. So I appreciate you joining in either way. I'm trying to find the damn guest list here, because now I just promoted it, and now you guys are... Here we go. Dan Ragu, Barrington Hughes, and Santeria Cortez will be joining on the 3rd. And on the 10th, we're going to be joined by Mayhem Merlin, Carlos Gabriel, and Stephen A. of the Deathmatch Wrestling newsletter, as well as the host of the History of FMW podcast. He'll be also joining on the April 25th. So, and when he comes on, that's going to be previewing the Deathmatch tournament season. It's a very limited crowd, I guess, that's into that, and I'm one of those people that, no pun intended, not so hardcore into it, but I appreciate Deathmatch Wrestling. Yes, I said it. And for anybody who tells me what to and what not to like otherwise, well, fight me. So before we get Matthew Ryan on, I want to talk about something really quick, which is the recent shakeup for the WWE programming. Now, if you pay attention to my blogs or my pieces over at PWP Nation, months ago I had said, because I gave one of those generic top 5 lists, and I said there were 5 acts in which I feel would be more suited towards NXT, or from NXT to the WWE, and one of those acts I had said, well, 3 of them are already on now. Because getting called up is Nikki Cross. Could be okay. I would like to see her be back with Sanity, because that's kind of like, her gimmick that got her over. You have Lacey Evans. That's one of those where maybe she didn't have like the big role like a Asuka or Amber Moon or Shayna Baszler or Kairi Sane or any of those bigger names of the NXT women's division. She didn't get that kind of attention, and she's a coach, I believe, over at the Performance Center as well. And with the call up, if you will, you look at names, you look at a talent like Alexa Bliss, let's say, for example, Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan, not necessarily got that big attention from the NXT women's division, but they are making impacts right now. You look at Logan and Morgan, they're part of the Riot Squad, which is one of the bigger storylines happening right now in WWE with the whole Ruby Riott and Natty Neidhart thing. Alexa Bliss, obviously, not, need you say no more. Oh my God.
Do you want to hear soft jazz music?
No. I set off this stupid thing again. I every time I do the show, I think about when I say that name, and then at the corner of my eye, I took a look over here. I'm like, oh crap, I set it off again. That'll happen from time to time. So But you think of Bliss, you think of them, and they're doing pretty well for themselves on the main roster. Lacey Evans, while I don't agree with the call-up, she was starting to build a little momentum, and I believe that character does fit pretty well on WWE TV. So it'll be interesting to see how it actually manifests itself onto the main programming. So we'll see. We'll see how that winds up working out. But the three other ones I had mentioned in said blog, EC3, Lars Sullivan, and the tag team Heavy Machinery. I felt that they would be best suited for the main roster. EC3 for the fact that he was already a WWE talent before he got let go. Sullivan has that build, that look, and has that... He's a big guy that Vince likes, and he's not a bad wrestler. He's gotten better. He's gotten a lot better, but he needs that James Mitchell to his abyss in order for him to really, again, in my opinion, where it's all about talking and getting your point across from promos. He's not necessarily the best. So I think somebody on the microphone for him would be very beneficial, but we'll see if that does happen. And obviously Heavy Machinery, the only downside with them coming is how WWE doesn't necessarily treat their tag team division very well. And this is where it comes up with the shakeup. You look at, like, fans are complaining about it. Well, you got the Revival as the next number one contenders for the tag titles now. You might possibly see them as tag team champions soon. You might. You also have, AOP, which are doing their thing. I don't know if that was really their plan to be doing that, but if they're given the right chance, I think they could do well. I would really like to see them on SmackDown, because when you see the graphic of those talents coming to WWE, they don't say coming to Raw or coming to SmackDown. They say coming to the WWE. Again, it makes things a little bit more interesting because who's going where? I think Sullivan goes to Raw. I think EC3 goes to SmackDown, if I were to make a good guess. I think Heavy Machinery should go on SmackDown. But then again, look at what they're doing or lack thereof with Sanity last week notwithstanding. I think Lacey Evans will go eventually to Raw. So we'll see what winds up happening. And I'm actually very much interested in that situation unfolding, because how will they fit? And it's funny because you have all these call-ups, and you already have a loaded roster, in my opinion, on the main roster. Whereas the NXT roster may not be deep in depth, but they have... It's very top-heavy. Now you have Ricochet, Adam Cole in the Undisputed Era. You have Gargano and Ciampa, which are the staples of NXT. Aleister Black. I mean, you're taking up... You're giving these talents minimal room to grow, even with the split brands. And you look at Sanity that were doing good things in NXT, and then all of a sudden they're called up. They've barely done anything. You look at talent like, Ty Dillinger, who was super over in NXT, and now he's, doing nothing. Well, he's injured now, so he can't really do anything. I could beat this topic with